The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Whether you're new to sales or a lifetime veteran, the Blackbelt Sales Podcast will sharpen your sword and guide you to master the art of sales. And now, here's your host, the ninja himself, Gene Slade.
My ninjas, good to see you today. Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Blackbelt Sales Podcast. If you are new to the show, you might not recognize the guy to my left on your screen. His name is Mike Agugliaro, and my experience with Mike started out in the trades when he was building a massive company up in the New Jersey area. And then shortly thereafter, he built another massive training company, helping people with things like freedom and legacy and mastery. And those are some of the things that we're going to talk about today. If you are joining us live, will you please just put live down in the comments? And if you're joining us on a replay, please put replay down in the comments. All right, let's start it off. Mike, welcome to the show. Thank you for coming back. Tell me what's going on in your life today.
Yeah, well, first off, I love your little countdown video. That is just really awesome. And I'm excited to be here to hang out with you today. You know, Gene, I don't know if you know this, with the whole ninjutsu thing, I was actually trained in a system called Takadaru Ninjutsu. Little side note, most people don't know. They normally hear about the traditional martial arts. My world is really good. You were asking me before we came on, how is life? And I only choose to accept life to be nothing less than amazing. It doesn't mean I don't get the curveballs and stuff. Sure. I get that like everyone else. But, you know, my wife and I, our biggest dilemma is we never seem to know what day of the week it is anymore. We call that a life by design. She's like, yes. we really only have to know if we have something scheduled like this. And we live at the Jersey Shore, so we take bike rides like 3 times a day. And yeah, it's
How old are you, Mike?
Me?
Yeah.
Level 53, baby.
Level
53. Yep.
He's also a master at the art of tattoo, as you can see all over his arms. So, you know, when I came to your last event, you almost made me feel a little bit bad about the whole ninja thing. You're like, you should have been a samurai. Samurai's got way more honor. And so I started looking it up, and I'm like, well, I might have to call Dan Antonelli and just do a whole new brand change. But man, you know, choosing to only accept the good stuff in life. Can you talk just a little bit more about that? Like, just expand a little bit more. Say a little bit more about that.
People are so, they're so sabotaged by what's going on. You know, just like you I've been in the industry a long time, right? Growing gold medal service and building that to a $32 million company. And it's a funny story. Somebody asked me, I'll share with this in a minute. And building it to 32 million and 200 employees and 165 trucks, I got to study a lot of people when they work for you and in the industry.
Sure.
I really got, Gene, a world-class education when I started coaching service business owners. Because if you want to know human behavior, man, just plumbers, HVAC, electricians, and at CEO Warrior, what we built in 5 years before I sold that in 2020, which now I don't do business coaching anymore. I do this. I understand what keeps people from reaching their highest level. And I used to think I could solve everything with like marketing and operation. And I did. I solved a lot. And I know we had some mutual clients, so I'm sure you played a part in this too. Right now, we created in the last 30 months, people that I believe my fingerprints were on. We created 45 Deca millionaires. I think that's pretty impressive. I don't think there's ever been more decamillionaires created in the service industry in history. There's like 3 or 4 more coming up. And those listening, if you don't know what a decamillionaire is, this thing changed my belief about a decade ago when somebody mentioned this word. And Gene, I didn't know I didn't know. Look, I'm an electrician by trade, right? So everybody, don't get me.
I put it together pretty quick when I heard you say it. I was like, Deca 10. Yeah, 10 million.
Yeah. But I was like, Decamillionaire. I started looking up. I was like, Decamillionaire, someone that's got $10 million, pretty much sitting there to do what they want. And in that moment, I made a decision. You know what? That's my identity. That's the identity I'm going to have. Now it's funny because, Gene, in the social worlds and whoever's watching this, man, if you just want to see stories created, fantasies and drama, man, just hang out in social media a little bit. It'll scratch every itch you could imagine. Well, what most people don't know is that for me, when I got my mind together and really understood what it's like to optimize yourself, I mean, I've been debt-free since I'm 28. I'm level 53. I haven't had a mortgage since I'm 28 years old. And I'm not saying it I'm not trying to impress anybody listening. I'm just trying to say when you optimize your mind, your body, your spirit, your thinking, your understanding, and own it, you can create anything at will. There's over $360 trillion on Earth. $360 trillion. That means there's no lack of money on Earth. There's only a lack of changing yourself from where you are to where you want to go. So I know that's a long answer, but people today, they're letting so many things hijack their mind that's already programmed in there. It's already in there. Like what their dad said to them, especially, man, since I worked with so many, what they would call, I love this. They talk about this segmentation or whatever in the world. Like, is it like the greatest separation in the world is blue collar, white collar? I mean, what the hell? Like, when did they decide like, oh, wait a second, they got to worry about all this other stuff, but you're blue collar, you're white collar. I mean, I don't know why people never destroy that. I think there's humans and then there's how humans function. And I sit there and wonder all the time, like, what's holding people back? And if you go back, you could, Gene, if you timeline people's life, you just look at it. You look at the day they were born. You look at all the upsides, all the downsides, when they were picked on, when they first got money from the tooth fairy, when they started a business, when they lost a business, when they got their first girlfriend, when they got divorced. If you look at that timeline, you could ask probably 3 questions, and I could tell you they're going to reach their level of desired life or they're going to struggle for the rest of their life just by looking at the past.
Man, you got me feeling uncomfortable over here myself, because I know that I have not gotten anywhere near the places that I need to be. And it's because I haven't focused enough on my own personal self, my own personal growth. I talk to one of my other friends about this all the time. He's kind of a famous head coach, if you will, a business and life strategist. And he asks the question, and I want to ask you this question, guys out there, everybody out there that's listening. By the way, if you're getting any value out of what Mike's doing right now, please just put a boom down in the comments for us. But how many of you know the things that you should be doing in order to increase your station or your success or your satisfaction out of life? How many of you know the things that you should do, but you can't get yourself to do them? Put a boom down in the comments if that's you. Mike, why is that? What is it? Why is it that we know what we should do? Like, I know that I should get up at 5:30 every morning, probably, and work out, or 6 or start my day that way. But I don't end up getting into the gym sometimes until 10, 11, 12 o'clock. Why is it that we can't get ourselves to do the things that we need to do?
Yeah, people are so programmed on stories. It's funny what you think you should do or should do. When I speak now, and sometimes I'm speaking to 3,000 people, and they always, I think, create this perception of what success is. So they, for some reason, they want to know, Gene, like, Mike, what's your morning routine? They must think I wake up at 4 a.m. and
I know what's coming here.
I cold plunge and then I sniff butterflies' asses and I hum to the skies, to the gods, and then I do all this stuff. And then my day starts at 7. I'm like, no, I had a goal many years ago, wake up without an alarm clock. I only set an alarm if I have to travel or speaking gig. That's it.
When did you accomplish that? Because that was a huge goal for me too.
Yeah, this is at least a decade ago, because I sold gold medal in 2017. And then about for 5 years, the company ran itself. I didn't have an office in the building. And so I would say it's a good decade ago, I stopped having to do that, minus if I had to go to an all company meeting or something. And so today, I mean, I wake up, it's normally, 7:30. I go on Facebook, I start looking and I see what's happening. Someone is so funny. Gene, someone told me, they said, Mike, it's proven that if somebody goes on Facebook, they're less successful than someone who doesn't go on Facebook in the morning. So I said to them, oh, that's an interesting fact. I said, how's business and life doing for you? And he goes, it's fucking horrible. It's really bad. Business is in the crapper and I can't hire people. And I said, you should go on Facebook in the morning. I said, you should do that first thing in the morning, because things don't affect me. Like my mom, she watches the news all the time, and she probably shouldn't, because she's always seeing these things. And I know a lot of people are like, I never watch the news. And I'm like,
my parents are the same way.
I say, I could watch the news. I'm in control of my mind. I'm in control of my mind. Nothing can control my mind. So I don't look at it and see what they want me to see. I look at things and look for the truth I want to see. But let's go back. Why is this affecting so many people today? Like why, back to your question here, is if you look at change, it's not about, first off, anybody that says they're always positive is that's a bunch of crap. I'll punch you in the face. You'll become negative real fast, right? It's not. You actually do not want to be always positive, and you don't want to be always negative. Nobody watching this is always nice, and nobody watching this is always mean. We keep trying to out balance ourselves. So we get all these perspectives from people like, think and grow rich. All right, raise your hand even though we can't see you. Did you read the book? Everybody's like, I read it.
Yep.
But the fact is, I'm 3,000 people, all the hands go up. I said, leave your hand up if you are rich. 98% of the hands go down. So I say, wrong book, wrong understanding. What is it for? Oh, my beautiful wife's on here. What is it?
That's a good woman, a woman that hollers you out when you're on a stream.
She's an amazing woman. We've been together since we're 15 years old. So you guys could do the math there. It's
you guys treated us so well when we came to your event, and she was so sweet. So I just got to give her a shout out for that. What an amazing woman you have there.
Thank you.
She's farsighted, and you stay really close, don't you?
Yes. So let me capture on this thing, because I don't want to lose this for everybody listening. You can be thinking any way you want. Your future life, first off, your greatest success, Gene, is already built. It is. It's waiting for you to catch up. But you cannot get there with the same mind program that you have today. I thought I had it all figured out for a decade of helping people. I gave them shit. When somebody just showed me a marketing I did, Gene, I'm sure you remember it because you've been in the industry of helping people the same time. I think the first one was called the $23 million blueprint.
Yeah.
And I literally told people, here's the marketing, here's the sales, here's everything. Here's how to talk to your people. I gave them the blueprint. Why didn't it work for everybody? I'll tell you why. Because to scale anything, you must scale yourself first. Because the most brilliant information, I'm looking at I got a whole bunch of books all over, but here's a ninja book for you. Look, here's a ninja book. Check that one out. The Book of the Ninja. Japan's premier ninja manual. We'll have to look at that later. But, if you look at this book, it could have the greatest wisdom, but you can only process it at the level of your programming in your mind. And how do I know? Well, I started to watch. If I could just shift permanently, not temporary motivation.
Yeah.
Temporary motivation is probably the worst thing you could have. You clap, you jump, you yell, you're excited. Monday morning comes, back to normal. Life sucks though. That's motivation. Transformation is where it happens. Transformation is permanent change. All of a sudden you hear something, which I'm only here hoping that one person gets personal transformation. Because yeah, you might be motivated, but you're not going to go and change the game. That's not going to help this big thing. Everybody, oh man, this recruiting thing today. And everybody's having a hard time recruiting, except me.
Yeah.
I'm not. We got a waiting list of people that want to work. It's never a recruiting problem. It's a person problem. It's a people problem. Because if you are somebody out there that is known for fighting for people's livelihood, and I run a couple companies. I mean, we got Food Dog Group, which is a personal growth company where we help people shift themselves forever. And we have another company where we take equity in companies and help them scale, grow to an exit. Any of you watching this, I am not in the plumbing, HVAC, or electrical space due to some restrictions. So please don't reach out to me and say, reach out to Gene. He is amazing at what he does. Do something with him. I don't do that today. But you have to shift every part of your inner and outer being. And most people, Gene, they don't want to look in the mirror.
Ooh.
Think about this. I guarantee everybody listening, if I said to you, remember how you looked this morning in the mirror. I want you to right now click and go. And I bet you don't remember seeing yourself in the mirror. I bet you brushed your teeth. Maybe like me, you shave. Sometimes I shave in the sink. I used to shave in the shower. For some reason, every year I flip back and forth. But most people are doing the function. They are trained not to see themselves. You know why? All they see is the imperfection. They see the little bit of man boob. They see the pimple. They see the scruff. They see the wrinkles. So they're trained. I see to do the function, but I don't see. Until you step in and go, all right, I see you. Let me see all of you now. Let me see the inner workings. Why are relationships collapsing all over the place? I mean, my wife and I are together 37 years. You think for 1 minute, like it was always butterflies and unicorns? No, we had changes, but there was one common denominator of success.
What was it?
We kept growing ourselves and growing our mind. Kept growing ourselves and growing our mind. At one point, decades ago, when we didn't know that like we know today, that's when resistance came in, friction came in. And I'm not saying all relationships should stay together. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that people that invest in themselves, anytime, and Gene, we're doing this Food Dog thing for 3 years now. Anytime someone says to me, my wife's not into that personal growth stuff, I know the future answer. I do. There will be a timeline where that thing expires. I hope I'm wrong. I hope someone proves me wrong. But I'm going to tell you what, look at your grandparents. How many of you, type in the chat bar, boom, how many of you had grandparents that stayed together till the end of their life, but one side of them or both were miserable?
Yeah.
Because to death do us part, right? So they stayed together miserable, but they also never invested in themselves. I mean, they never invested in change today. Fascinating. People will run around. They'll spend months trying to find the perfect TV, 3D. They'll spend a year to find the perfect car, right? And everything is about them getting this instantaneous dopamine hit. They want this hit of like, look at me. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a fancy car. Are you having it for you or for someone else to say, good job, congratulations? Because if you can't congratulate yourself and be proud of yourself, man, this is a long, miserable road for you to travel, because all you're going to do, and I watch it. And again, Gene, I don't care. People, if I do care, I shouldn't say it. They have a choice to level they care for themselves. But like, you're on social media, a lot of these guys smoking big cigars and stuff. And I'm like, that's great. You got an 8-year-old kid. Like, what model are you being for that kid? Hey, don't do this, but it's okay I do that. I think, especially talking to the men right now, I would ask yourself, what model are you really doing? And what model are you behaving? And how are you really stepping up? And what do you want that perception to be for your children someday? Your actions. You want them all to be like, oh, I got to have that car or that boat. And if I don't, because your kids are probably going to have a harder time getting what you have. What do you think about that, Gene? You think that's possible?
Yes, I do.
I do. I mean, because what some of us, just grinding it out, you could get results, because majority of the people are just, they're waiting. I don't remember that. Maybe you remember that movie. I think it was a cartoon where it was everybody was fat and they never walked, and the machine fed them and it like moved them around. Like,
I don't remember that one.
That's the human race today. They want to sit and just like in this thing and go, feed me, clothe me, right? And if you're just willing to do some energy and effort, well, man, you'll win, right? You'll win. But in the future for your kids, critical thinking is going to be key. Like, understanding the functions of how the mind work is going to be key. And I'm proud because today we do that,
Man, it makes such an extraordinary difference when I heard you talk about stories earlier, right? Mm-hmm. Just being able to identify that a thought that you're having is a story that you're telling yourself about what happened. Yeah. Right. Just being able to get that at first, I think, might be the first step. But it a lot of times requires somebody else outside of you to be able to see it, to help you get that trigger at first. So, like, you're talking about investing in yourself. Like, I watched you. You must have spent close to $1 million so far on your own personal growth and education, because I've seen all of the different high-level people that you have been associated with. Now, is that part of what helped to transform your thinking to get you to this place?
Yeah. Well, first off, it's over 3 million now. And anybody who doesn't want to believe it, I could prove it all.
Got the receipt?
Crap. A bunch of it was working with Jay Abraham, who's the highest paid consultant on earth today. So you can imagine what that investment is, but worth every penny. When I was an electrician, I did 10 years of just grinding it, man. So like, anybody who wants to talk about hot addicts, and it really was, we dug ditches because swimming pool wire. We dug ditches for about 7 years before me and my partner back then, Rob, said, maybe we should buy a trencher, right? I have no idea. But I convinced myself, because I was doing martial arts like 5 days a week, I convinced myself that pickaxe was like training all day. But after 10 years of really not figuring it out, I went to go visit somebody's shop, and maybe he'll listen to this, maybe not. He might not even like what I say now at this time, but I went to go visit a guy's shop, and his name was Steve Lowry, in Pennsylvania. And he was running an electrical shop that was the most impressive thing I've ever experienced. Matter of fact, all their people were like in the office wearing ties, and I went, you could lick the floor. It was so impressive. This is, man, decades ago. And we spent the day. He was so kind and gracious. And at the end of the day, we left. We were driving back. And this was a pivotal turn for me, Gene. I don't even know if I've ever shared this publicly before. And when I left there, I said to my business partner at the time, Rob, I said, if they did that, and they're pretty crappy electricians by my standards, imagine what we could do. And the change, that was it. I made a decision. I said, well, you know what? The problem is we're thinking we could do it ourselves. Now, I already had some mindset training because I'm training martial arts for 37 years, right? Sure. So, and I trained with an instructor that really understood the mind, the body, mastery, excellence of body movement. Very amazing guy that I trained with one of them for 19 years. But then I made a decision, me and my partner, we said, well, we got to hire someone that knows about this. But guess what happened? I hired people that knew skills, but they didn't know how to put the skills into my mind to make it work. So it's like, I give you the greatest, I guarantee, I mean, you're a pro at sales. I guarantee you worked with people, gave them the whole thing, but they just don't do 80% of it. They win.
Yeah.
20% of it makes them win more. And you're going, well, I don't understand. Why aren't you doing the 50% of it? Well,
that is one of the most frustrating things for sure.
Their mind has not been trained. So they're taking great information, they're popping it through a filter, and it gets, let me give you an example. And I share this story a lot. When I was a kid, okay, my mom, I found a quarter on the ground or a nickel, and I found it on the ground. Maybe I was 5, 6 years old, whatever. And I was like, Mom, look, I found this. She's like, oh, that's so good, Michael. Now go wash your hands. Money is dirty. Now to all of you listening, that's just maybe a mom does that.
How many of you have heard that?
Right. Type in the chat bar money. You counted cash for your birthday. What did your mom say? What do you say today as a dad or a mom? You say, go lick the dollar bills? No. You say, guess what? Go wash your hands. Money is dirty. Now you're thinking, Mike, I don't understand what's the big deal. Well, that thought's inside your mind. It's programmed in there. Why do people have to come to you to learn how to sell? Because guess what? They have the thinking and program that sales is dirty. It's the Hoover vacuum guy. It's the dirty sales guy. They don't even look at it that it's nothing more that, well, not the whole world, but when it's done right, it's nothing more than high level integrity communication.
Amen.
But you're programmed with that thought, right? Money doesn't grow on trees. My dad told me that. Wow. He told me that over and over and over again. He told me 2 things. And when I was doing 20 million in business, Gene, I said to my dad, you told me 2 things. One was right, one was wrong. He said, well, what was wrong? I said, you told me money doesn't grow on trees. But if I owned apple trees and pear trees, I could pick it and sell it for money. He said something that changed my life forever. He said, son, I only told you what my dad taught me and his dad taught him.
Ugh.
How many of you are still doing stuff that you were taught thinking it's the truth today? So now, Gene, he's curious. Well, what did I tell you was right? I said, well, you told me you didn't own the utility company. Shut the damn lights off. I said, you still don't own the utility company, right? So if you think about such simple programming, you don't just wake up today and go, nope, money's not dirty. I will just start licking bills. It doesn't work that way. You have to reprogram that thought, collapse that thinking, and put a brand new thought in. And it's not a fact of positive now or negative. It's a process to go through. It's a process, not an event. And I've proved it out now since I'm in this, peak performance human development world, which is, I love all these people. Gene, I'm sure you're hearing it, this whole AI stuff. Oh my goodness.
ChatGPT.
Yeah. I just wish I was the one that started the buzz on something. Like how exciting the human behavior is to run and drool and lick over everything new and
get distracted.
Oh, amazing. And here's the deal though. HI is what everybody's ignoring is ignoring. Human intelligence. The greatest risk is not losing a job. It's that the human race is becoming less intelligent because they're letting intelligent tools become more intelligent than them. All of you should write down HI, human intelligence. It's actually your competitive advantage. And I know something, Gene, you were going to ask me and I'm a believer of this. First off, more wealth, abundance, and life by design will be created in by 2030, there will be more wealthy people in history than ever before. There will also be more suffering people because the middle class is going to be completely extinguished.
Yeah.
it's going to be extinguished. It's already happening, and technology is going to do it. So people got to start making a decision on what side of the line. And I'll tell you the common denominator between what they're going to classify as higher class or lower class. It's really higher thinking, lower thinking. It's really not programmed thinking and programmed thinking. And you're going to have to ask yourself, we watched it. I mean, if you weren't fascinated, I remember telling my wife when she's like, we got to get toilet paper. They're selling out of toilet paper. And I was thinking, what world is it that like all of a sudden you didn't think you could use, like, is anybody on this call? You couldn't use a tissue or a toilet paper? Could you not use a rag? If the end of the world, like, could you not spray the hose on your butt? Like, could you use a leaf? Like that you were in such a panic, you needed to worry about toilet.
Stop everything you're doing right now.
Fascinating. And this should have everybody thinking. So take a minute, everybody, take a breath and think to yourself, where are you today? Because you're filled by part of the world is an image. It's a mirage. Social media. Oh my goodness, man. I love it. I love watching it because you see all these people. Well, you get it. You've been in this world. How many coaches are there today in the space of HVAC and plumbing? People who've never done anything. Like they went to some events and now they're experts at what? I don't even understand what you're an expert at. Like if you never run a formal business, company, entity where you had the pressure of paying bills and employees, like you now have that skill to do it. I mean, it's, oh my goodness. Don't even get me started on that one.
There's a lot more than there was 9 years ago when I sold my HVAC business and started doing this. Yeah. Like it was almost, I could have named maybe 4 people at that point. Now it's incredible. And I was watching another guy yesterday on social media who's a higher level individual in our industry, just tearing it down, just getting so frustrated about it, and even calling certain people out that, well, this guy actually that he was calling out actually makes a lot more money than him. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of guys out there that are trying to get into the space after not really having done anything. They sold $1 million, $1.5 million, $2 million, $3 million in a year, and now they're going to go out and give a business owner advice and tell them how to manage technicians and all this other stuff. No, I get it.
I used to focus on, when I was growing CEO Warrior, I used to focus on this stuff. And I always keep coming back is my focus and my intention in the right direction for what's helping people. And is that also the model I'm showing for my family, for my wife, for my kids, right? And I always said, like, if you're talking about someone, you could bet your ass there's someone talking about you too, you know? And it is, look, I'm not in the industry like I was, because when I sold CEO Warrior, you get restrictions and stuff, which was fine. I feel like I put a big impact in the industry. I believe I led it very well, and I believe I created a lot of change. There is a change I wish the industry would have. I wish they would band together in strength, because I do believe at one time the industry was more banded together. Yeah. And, I would love for because, there's strength in numbers, and I believe if the industry does not come together and really start to band together, they're going to perish together. They're going to get the same suffering. When you go back, since I've been in business for, 3 decades, you go back in time, you used to ask a buddy for his guy to help you. Yeah. You used to be able to tag a friend, and there was no, I'm worried you're going to steal my business and stuff today. And today, because I'll tell you this about human behavior, everybody on the front end tries to look put together. But behind closed doors, there's a lot of broken humans. I mean, I've seen it when I went and I spoke at this big event. They make you feel good, Gene. They put you in the green room. They're like, the room you go to is the green room. I'm thinking, whoa, man, I'm a big shot now, right? They're going to have Fuji water and some M&Ms in there, which they did. I ate half of the M&Ms. But I don't eat it now, the sugar like that. But there's all these, I mean, real famous people, you know, the TV type people that are going to speak on stage. And I'm thinking, man, this is amazing. I'm standing next to him and my life's good at that point. My wife loves me. My kids love me. And I'm listening to these famous people talking to their buddies that they knew, other famous people. And like, yeah, I'm getting divorced. I'm on 3 different pills for depression. And I don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow. And I'm going broke. And then go on stage and tell everybody how to live in the world. I would have respected that guy more if he went on stage and said, let me share how I'm a broken mess right now and what I'm doing to manage it. And it's such an illusion today, these people out there all over the place. And for those of you that have value, I would tell you something. Start creating a filter of what you'll allow in your mind. I wrote a book, and I'm not here to sell anybody books.
I was hoping that you were going to mention the book. Yeah. I was trying not to interrupt you because you've said several times you've said something that made me think everybody needs this mind power book.
Yeah, I believe it. I put a lot of energy and focus in this book. And I got some other ones coming out called, there's one Money Cure and another one called Superhuman. I got a couple more books coming out, but this Mind Power one.
Those hit so that I can get them and I can let my people know.
Yeah, I definitely will. This Mind Power one, I believe, will open the eyes of people because we've even had somebody reached out for the book, and this woman was in a battered woman shelter, which I always have a big heart for, just people that really are good people and just need a chance. You know, there's people that just don't want a chance. And I sent the person the book, read the book, clean off drugs, now's teaching people in these battered women things. And I sent a whole case to the place and said, well, give the books out. And I'll even show up and teach for them virtually because they're out of state. And so I am a believer, anybody, you could get on Amazon, or like I said, hit me up. You don't make anything selling books on Amazon anyway. I'll send anybody on here a copy of the book and really understand your mind. It's the competitive advantage that people really need to understand. And think about it. Look, how many, type in the chat bar if you're brave enough to type it in. How many people are living with some form of shame, okay, guilt, or trauma today? It could be trauma you were bullied when a kid. Like, what the heck? You tell your kids when they're young, be quiet, and then when they're 18, you tell them to speak the hell up. Like, what part of it do you know what I mean, want them to do? And then because they are not modeling your perfect world, right? You're perfect because it's not your perfect political world, your perfect religious world. You're shaming the whole world. Like, does anybody really have the right to shame someone else because they don't believe what you've been programmed to believe? And how much is this controlling your life? You know, someone said to me, because there's a new buzzword, and please, everybody, don't be sending me the emoji middle finger and stuff, but you can. I'm going to love you anyway. So if you Facebook me the middle finger, I'm just going to tell you I love you. Okay. So don't waste your time. But this damn buzzword like anxiety, and I'm not telling you it's not a real thing, but you know, anxiety it's a breakthrough waiting for you to happen.
What do you mean, Mike? Well,
people attach themselves to these identities and how they should feel. And then they tell you, oh, Joseph, you should be nervous.
Yeah.
Don't go to the grocery store because, you know, you might drop dead or something, right? And they start telling you, you should, and you start not, your internal sides don't know how to stay alive because it's like fear. Fear is predicting a future that did not happen yet. I'm afraid if I drive, I'll crash. Okay, that didn't happen. Okay. Could it happen? Yes. The probability? Well, probably no. not today, right? So what happens is people get so much internal stuff that they get bubbled over with emotions, and some of it is just right on the energetic side where you don't even know how to function. But if you just stop a minute, like let's look at NyQuil, okay? Or not NyQuil, Advil or Tylenol. Do you need Tylenol and Advil, Gene, because your body goes, man, you're having a headache because you don't have Advil? No, it doesn't work that way. You're having a symptom, and the Advil can neutralize the issue. But if I cut my arm open and take Advil, some pain will go away, but that cut don't go away. And this is what a lot of the world's doing is we keep going. Like, look at people.
That makes me think of alcohol and drugs, Mike.
And look, I'm not saying any of those things are easy. I never drank alcohol my whole life. I never did drugs my whole life. I never smoked my whole life. And I'm not saying it to brag. I'm just saying when you're 15 and on your own, you have two choices. You either survive the best way you can, or you follow the cycle and see what happens. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'll tell you what, caffeine, I never drank coffee, but I did drink unsweetened iced tea and put like a whole lot of sugar in that thing. Them Dunkin' Donuts 50-gallon drum of iced tea. I drank a lot of that. And with the day I didn't drink it, you want to talk? I had suicidal thoughts from caffeine withdrawal. And I said to myself one thing, if that thing has that level of control over me, how's this going to affect me in my future? Like, and all of you today could take a simple process. Let me give you a simple action. Just ask yourself, what I'm going to do now, is it going to move me closer to what I want or further away? Simple thing. If eating this, taking this, smoking this. Now, the world's done an incredible thing here.
An incredible job.
Yeah, at doing this. Let's make drugs as legal as we can for all of you that like it, and that's fine, to think the universe did a great thing. Well, let's just look at history. If you want to control people, the first thing you do is neuter them. So congratulations, Earth. We have an addiction problem, and we're making addiction free and legal. So, it doesn't take rocket science to look at the human behavior, and anybody who's ever dealt with family that's had addiction, which I have experience with this, the torturous things and how painful it could be in life to watch somebody stuck on addictions and how it just destroys every part of their mind and body. But let's make it legal so there's stores all over, and we think it's fun and funny. And I don't. Oh, thank you. I had a drink, but Gene gets me all cranked up. I don't find it funny, and I think people should start to ask themselves, because we want to live as long as we can, but we do things that kill us as quick as possible, right? Longevity. Everybody should write down the word longevity. I made a decision on longevity because I really want to hit 140. I believe it's possible. I mean, level 140. Level 140. It's going to be like Iron Man. They're going to pop parts off your body, and they're going to pop an arm off, put one on. And so I think 140 is more than possible, but not if I do things that don't help. And one of the things I found out is in the mind, because everybody write this down. Okay. The body follows the mind. The body follows the mind.
Put it in the chat, guys.
The spirit follows the body. What does that mean? Okay. If my mind is crowded, distracted, fatigued, I'm hating the world, I have money problems, relationship problems, tell me what happens to your body. You eat good or you eat less? You drink more or you drink less? You exercise more or exercise less? You go into a state, your body starts to fatigue. Your body will actually start to kill itself. Because anything the mind says, if the mind, Gene, says, I hate this about myself, I hate this, the body will start to destroy it, which is why they call it disease, dis-ease. Okay? Anything that's dis in the mind will create a way to destroy itself. The spirit Well, when your mind's out of whack in your body, do you have an unstoppable spirit? No, your spirit's broken. And now you're just like, things will just start to fall apart in life. So if people could just say to themselves, wait a minute, if that makes sense, I solved, let's see. I know there are some medical reasons. There is for people that can't get rid of weight. I get it. They say there's medical reasons. I have to guess at it because I'm not a doctor. But I will tell you something historically over the last 3 decades, because this isn't, just so everybody knows, this working with human performance and helping people scale themselves so they could scale anything is over 3 decades for me. I didn't just read a couple books and make it up. I'm doing it for a very long time. And I finally nailed it the last probably 4 or 5 years. People that struggle to lose weight is the body's ability to try to ground you and keep you grounded, because you have so much turmoil or stress or trauma in your mind. Your body literally will stack weight on it because it wants to try to ground you to earth. It wants to keep you from moving around. You heal that mind, and all of a sudden, I'm just telling you, everything changes in the body. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of the thing Inside Tracker. Inside Tracker, and Gene, if you want, I could get a code that can save some people money if they want to do it.
Please.
It's called the Inside Tracker. Hey, Jen, can you write a note and send it, Inside Tracker, to his wife for me, please? So Inside Tracker is they'll come to your house, most parts of the world. They'll take your blood and they run it through all kinds of tests for you. And they'll tell you your vitamin D and testosterone and all this. And they give this thing, Gene, called Inner Age. So I did this 5 years ago. So I'm level 47 or something. And it comes back and says your inner age is almost 60 years old. And I go, are you kidding me? My body is aging by a decade. A decade. You know what that means? You're going to die a decade earlier, for sure. So I said, I got to fix this. I am going to reverse age and prove that you can reverse it, which we have now in our world at Food Dog Group. We have it having every month someone else is reversing their age. I then took the test again and reversed it by a decade. Wow. Now I'm beating it by like 7 years now. I'm beating my age. So, and I guarantee I could beat it more. So the question for you guys to write down.
Put tracker down in the comments. Put tracker in the comments.
Or my wife might even, if depending how long we're on, she might even be able to throw it in the thing, the code for you guys. But the point is, if you don't take your mind in control and you don't let your body follow, and you don't make your spirit get to where it's got to go. Spirit, not your religious belief. We're not talking God and Jesus. We're talking about your inner spirit, your inner energy, your innermost belief systems of you. And if you guys don't take that by control, someone else is going to control it for you. I mean, go through the grocery store. My wife and I were in the grocery store. Man, how do you like the Cocoa Pebbles are just calling your ass? It's like it speaks to you, right? Like the Cheerios box. It's just like all that, the candy bars, the sodas. It's all just sitting there, and it's like they did so good on control branding. I don't know if anybody's ever knows the term control branding. Control branding is actually where they took control of a part of your mind and they created a pattern in there that set emotions in. Just like if I said to you, think about cotton candy or something, or think about Coca-Cola, or think about Pepsi, or think about a Hershey's Kiss bar. And I guarantee it take you right back to the moment of that time when you had it, and it starts calling you. Type in the chat bar, how many of you have ever walked through a grocery store and you battled buying that candy bar the whole time, and in the end, you bought the damn candy bar, right? That's who wins the battle, right? And they stick it by the register because they're brilliant marketers, and they controlled you. Yeah, Joseph, sugar is still my arch enemy. When I owned Gold Medal, This is how your team figures out how to manipulate it. When I owned Gold Medal, they got a vending machine in our company. And I'd go out there normally in the afternoon and get a Hershey's almond bar. Now it's like love.
Yep.
And so 2:00, by 2:00, 100 and something employees, you need the Hershey's almond bar, right? So I'd eat that thing. And then next thing, my one manager, Jim T, was a director. He somehow gets the brilliant idea. He's going to buy a box of these from Costco, and he puts them in his drawer. So at 10 o'clock in the morning, when I'm going like, come on, what's with this and this? He goes, hey, Mike, by the way, I got a Hershey's almond bar. And I'm like, let me have that. And I'm eating it. Now I'm eating one at 10 o'clock and 2:00. So I think they had a gamut in my company. Employees were like, feed them a candy bar, quick, feed them a candy bar, right? So I haven't had one in a long time now, but I now you guys got me thinking about. But you see how that control marketing
Yeah.
right inside your mind. It's like sushi. What the hell do they put in sushi that when you say it, you got to eat it within 48 hours? Think about it. Like it's like this, like they put something in the sushi rice that's like you say it and a ticker starts. So where else should we go?
Man, I don't know. I mean, we've been here for a minute. Guys, if you've got questions for Mike, I mean, this is an opportunity to really get things answered where otherwise you wouldn't be able to. Mike is a busy guy in his life doing the things that he wants, right? And so it would cost you a lot of money to tie him down for 15 to 30 minutes, okay? So if you've got a question for Mike, about growing your business, about growing yourself, about how to get past the personal obstacles that you have, then now's the time to ask it.
Yeah. You know, why they're asking a question, and let me know when one comes up. They got to stop telling these stories that they're programming themselves. Okay. I had the same story almost 20 years ago. It's hard to hire people. It's hard to hire people. You can't hire people. It's hard to hire people. They're all on drugs. They all rob from you. They all break your shit. They all don't show up. And someone said to me, it changed my life.
That was a lot of thoughts.
Oh, yeah. They said, do you think for 1 minute, as many times as you repeated that your brain would go, wait a minute, there's a brilliant human right there. He said, what about this? Why don't you say this? There's amazing people everywhere. You just don't see it yet. You don't see them yet. And I will tell you something. 3 or 4 hours later, I get a phone call and a guy says, are you hiring? And I said, well, absolutely we are. Interviewed him and hired him within a day.
Wow.
I'm telling you, from shifting my thinking from that. Then from that day, because you know what they used to say, Gene? They say, oh, you had 200 employees. It's easy. Everyone wants to work for us. No. See, when I was small and we only had a couple employees, I used to tell people, what do you want to work for, the big company? What do you want to be, a number? When I was a big company, I said, what do you want to work for, a small company? They might go out of business.
Yeah.
There's always a way to communicate. But the number one common denominator that I found out, for those of you that are struggling with your stories of there's not enough, there's 9 billion people on planet Earth now.
Holy
9
crap. It's grown
billion.
fast.
And you can't find a plumber. I mean, come on now, really? No, here's the common denominator. They're looking for a leader to follow. Someone who's going to kick down the door with them, someone that they could really know is going to fight for them, and someone who's going to treat them as an equal and not a below. My team, I hope so. And if they think I didn't, they should say it if they come across us. I treated them as an equal. Look, I'm just the guy driving here, but you're right alongside. You're my co-pilot, all of you. And that's why today, I mean, I never say never. I'm pretty sure I won't ever enter the service company, even though there are some big mouth people out there that I am human.
You want to shut them up?
I am human. So I do sometimes wake up in the middle of the night just thinking I'll just open up just to choke them out and show them. And then I'm like, Mike, that's not you anymore. And I'm like, inside my inner voice is like, yes, it's you. And I'm like, just leave them be. But sometimes I do crave just to maybe go out there and just show all of them like how big and fast you can do it. for no other reason to just make people that I think are not nice people become nice people, because especially in that industry. And now it's interesting because there is common trends, Gene, like now a lot of the people that we work with are high-level executives. We have CEOs of hospitals. We have doctors that come to our world. We have people that own IT companies. We have one of the top AI experts that owns a business in our world. And so that's our type of client today, because I had a ton of restrictions on past people and stuff. But I will share, and I want to see if anybody had a question. If anybody is interested, is it okay, Gene, if I share the thing we got coming up in September?
I was actually about to ask you to share that.
Cool. In September, we're running an event. It's called Seekers of Power. And this is not a foo-foo-y event. It's a tactical and strategic event on how to shift you from where you're at to where you need to have your biggest legacy life you could ever imagine. It is 3 days. It's in person. It's only for 65 people.
Where's it at?
And it's in Connecticut, New Hartford, Connecticut. We have a big house, kind of like you get. We got this big house in the middle of the woods. And it really is only 65 people, and there really is only 13 seats left. That's not a scarcity tactic. There's only 13. We could only fit 65 at this location because the person who owns the house, he's like, 65, that's capped. Don't play no games. So we got 13 seats left. It's 3 days. If any of you want a total immersion experience to come out and really understand how to remove these guilts, these shames, these traumas, and empower yourself to a way that you can scale yourself. So you could go to the world, and I don't care what you want to do after that. You want to bring a company 30, 50, 100 million? Yeah, everything else will be possible after this 3 days. And after day one, if you think it's a crock of shit and you don't like it, you just come up to us. We'll give you your money back and, hand in your material. We'll give you a big hug and you can leave. But I will promise you that those of you that decide to do it, first, you'll be surrounded around some of the best people. There will be deca millionaires there. There's people that are scaling and exiting. There's people that are growing their family. There's people that are stepping up as dads and moms. Just an amazing group of people there. And I would say, Gene, you came to our last event. This event is more exclusive and probably, I would say, 100 times more powerful than that one. So if anybody's interested, you could go to fooddoggroup.com/seekers. So it's fooddoggroup.com/seekers, or you can hit me up with a private message. We do need to have a talk. You can't, I'm sure like Gene, you can't just go on, buy a ticket, show up. I want to make sure who's coming, make sure you're ready, make sure we both agree that you could go to the next level. We have a kick-ass MC coming. We got amazing speakers, and it'll be a life-changing event. So, yeah.
Same MC as last time?
Yeah. Kevin Axtell is coming, and he does some really cool stuff that we couldn't do in the building. And this is, I will tell any of you, this is, we do go from morning till about 10 o'clock at night. So for 2 of the days, and the third day will end around 5. So you got to have that. There's no force to do anything we're doing. And there'll be a lot of time. If you've never given yourself the gift, also great for a husband and wife. Gene, that's one thing my wife and I figured out is for years and years, I was running around doing all these trainings and learning and coming back. And my wife wasn't doing that stuff. She was taking care of the kids. She was doing the home part. And I'll tell you, that's a big mistake in the world today. Any of you that are a couple, if you're not learning together, you're growing apart. I promise you, this isn't 1920 no more. This isn't my grandmother cooking pasta in the kitchen, and that's all she does is barefoot and pregnant no more,
Bring the ladies with you guys. I mean, I'm always telling people when they come out to our events, Mike, that they can bring their significant other with them, right? Yeah. Get them involved. That's why Brittany goes everywhere with me. Everywhere I go, she goes with me, and has since, probably the last 4 years.
Well, she said because she doesn't have a choice with you, but no, I'm just kidding.
Well, I am a little bit codependent, Mike. So
I get it. So I challenge. Now, somebody I thought had a question.
We did.
Yeah, what is that?
Go ahead and put that question back up, sweetheart. Brittany's running the show today, by the way.
Yeah, Brittany, you're kicking ass on that. You're doing amazing.
We need Priyanka's question that she came up with.
Yeah. While the question's coming up, Gene, the cool thing about this property, there's a stream, there's a pool, there's this big stone walkway. This guy has this big stuffed bear. I mean, it's magnificent. Let's see the question.
What's your suggestion for someone who's an overthinker and is always worried about how others will feel and what they'll say?
Yeah. This is, my advice for you, my insight is to start to, well, first off, somebody told me, she gave me an example. I call her my hippie mom. She's a coach and she does some therapy and different things. I know her for well over a decade. And she taught me something. She's like, you know what? She made this example. She's kind of like, I'll do it as appropriate as I can. She's like, you kind of have a small pee-pee, let's say, right? And she goes, and you open up the kimono and you go, look, everybody, it's small. And she goes, once you open up the kimono, it's out there. There's nothing else to say. So sometimes it's like we're trying to be something because we're afraid. Just open up the kimono. Like first off, I'm not doing that. But the point is just be real. And this thing is, if you're worried about being judged, you're probably judging someone else. So I always say curious first, judgmental second. The other thing is go back in time and find out where that was started. Look at this Barbie thing is a big problem. It was a big problem for always. And if I had a choice and could rewound time, I would never have given my daughter a Barbie doll. Not that I think it caused her a problem, because you're giving an image of something that's not really possible in most standards, right? It's a perfect butt, a skinny waist, a big breast, perfect blonde hair. And now we got a movie that's like, it's making an image of this face. So there's been a time in your life that somebody said to you and created these concerns about you being judged. And it could have been in school, right?
Is there an age, Mike? Is it 9 to 11 years old? What is the typical age range that this stuff happens?
Well, look, if you were 5 and smacked in the face, it could have happened at 5. When you were at school and the first time you forgot to zipper your fly, or like, hey, I bet every woman on here had a fear of one time of having that first experience of time a month in school and you didn't know. And every guy had an experience. Let's be real. If he's going to stand up one day and that thing's at attention. I mean, like, right? Like Gene, you never had that in school. You're like, oh shit, what if I got to stand up now? The thing's got to mind itself. Right? But that might have happened, or you spilled something and someone said, ha, 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 look at you. Look what happened to you. Or you had the wrong socks on and all of a sudden you got this program of I'm embarrassed and I'm this. So I would challenge you, just go back in time, get really real with yourself and say, you're not that 5, 8 or 10-year-old kid no more. You're a man today. And you have a right to feel the way you want to feel. And the other thing is, up to your age of 18 or whatever, your parents tried telling you how to feel. You should work this. You should go to college for this. You should act like this. You should think like this. You shouldn't say the F word. You shouldn't say, it's funny. This cursing word is amazing. These people that are always praying for me because I curse. And I said, do you realize like those words have no power over me? But the fact you're praying for me, how much power and control is a word over you? Right? It's so programmed that if you shift the program, my right? Yeah, these shoulds, right?
That. I love
like,
that.
You just shift
all over each
program.
Other. Say that again, because I talked over you, Mike.
Yeah, no. If you just shift the program in your mind and start asking, okay, watch this. Write this down, everybody. When you think the next thought, this will twist you up. This will be a good way to bring it to a finish line. And I'm here as long as you want. I don't have another call for a while. But when you think the next thought, whatever it is, That's good, that's bad, that's right, that's wrong, that's positive, negative.
Come on.
Ask this one thing. Whose thought is that? Is it your thought? Your mom's thought? Your wife's thought? The political? Is it Trump's thought? Is it your priest's thought?
Wow.
Whose thought is it? And
Wow.
then ask yourself the next question. Do I want that thought to still be true today? And it might twist you up a little bit in the beginning, but I got news for you. You're going to start finding out. How many of you ever that have children, type in children in the chat bar, you said something to your kids and then stopped a minute and go, holy crap, I'm my dad.
Yeah.
I turned into my dad, which one way you might be, oh, that's proud. And another way you might say to yourself, you didn't evolve.
Yeah.
Right? Like the selling, just so you know, like people sell companies because they hate it or because they're evolving beyond it. I sold both of my companies. I did not hate either one. I evolved above them. Today, you probably heard this thing, and answer it in the chat bar, Joe. If you're not growing, you're what? People would say dying. No, I am a firm believer. If you're not growing today, you're already dead. You just haven't figured it out. I am a firm believer in that because especially at the rate of speed, and a lot of people are not paying attention to, I think I'm excited about all of it. I'm excited for the Optimus robot that everybody will have in their home. Yeah. I'm excited for the future rebellion that will happen. I'm pretty sure I'll be on the side of taking down the robots and cyborgs. So I know what side I'll fall on. I'm excited for the UFOs that they've been pretty much programming you for acceptance for the last decade, that you're going to have it. I'm excited for all of this because guess what? All of it is a new opportunity. It's all an opportunity. The minute you change, there's no problems, just opportunities. You'll start living so much more peaceful. So everybody type in the chat bar, like what's been most helpful for you today. So we know that you did a good job.
Real quick, let's put up the website again for the event that Mike is having in September, right?
September, Connecticut, New Hartford. It's got, and just so everybody knows that's interested in it, mention that you were here. I'll give you a little bit of a discount off it just because I want you to know how much. Gene doesn't have to do this. We don't have to do this. We do this because we care about people. I'll give you a little discount, but all the food is taken care of for you guys. You just got to get there, stay at a place, show up when we tell you. We'll take care of everything else. It's going to be a blast.
Guys, I can tell you from experience, the food's pretty good.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
So go ahead. If you're interested in that, either go to this link right here or down in the comments, just put the word seekers. Okay. SEEKERS. Also, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with us so long. If you're watching this live, will you please type live down in the comments? And if it's on a replay, please just type replay for us. It would mean the world to us. It really, truly would.
Yeah. And thank you, Gene, for having me on today and doing what you're doing. Everybody that watches this, all of you that love it, we love you. All of you that hate it, we still love you. It's time for everybody to band together and stop all their bullshit in the world today, because all you're doing is feeding the insanity that the other parts of the world want to happen. So every time you enter the drama and nonsense world, just know you're part of creating the destruction of what's happening instead of creating the world for our children. That's going to be real important, and we have to focus on that. So stop your nonsense out there, and let's start all banding together and make sure. I was not in the military, but military people, thank you. I am a believer, no soldiers left behind, and that should apply to everybody on the earth today. So if you're suffering in any way, reach out to me. If I could send you a book, I'll send it. I'll cover the shipping. I'll send you resources. Let's remove suffering from the planet, okay?
Same here, y'all. If you need help from either one of us, just reach out to us or put it down in the comments. We're here for you. We love you. And the joy, a lot of the joy in our life comes from watching this transformation. Mike, on a personal level, I on more of a sales and business level, and we do get into the personal as well. But Mike, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. He says, I love this. I just want to make sure we didn't have another question. Mike, I appreciate you coming on. Guys, I fully endorse Mike Agugliaro, so give him a call. He runs excellent events. Let me know if you go out to one of the events, how you liked it. I'm personally interested, and I know Brittany's personally interested in the September event too, so we probably should look at that a little bit deeper.
Awesome.
Mike, have a great one, brother.
Thank you.
Love you guys. See you later.